Hi everyone and welcome to Protocol 36. And with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse coming out later this year, in October to be exact, it's safe to say that we may be getting some news hopefully around the summer, if not a bit later, assuming nothing happens and it doesn't get delayed. Probably even showing the types of spider people we might get in the film, most of them coming from the comics or even other mediums. So in this video we're going to speculate the Spider-Men and women we will see in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But before we get started, if at any point you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate if you could drop a like, as that would really help out the channel. Thank you. Now let's get into this. I think it's safe to say that we will be seeing the same characters from the first film, so Peter B. Parker, Spider-Gwen, Penny Parker, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Ham. I definitely do think those characters are going to return, and Spider-Gwen has already been confirmed, so I definitely think the same will happen for the others too. Especially Peter B. Parker, since he had a massive arc in the first film, and we may even get some insight on how he's changed for the past year, and if he became a father, since we do know that he did go back to MJ after he came home to his Earth. Obviously another Spider character who's been confirmed to be in it is of course Spider-Man 2099, since we also did see him go up against Miles. We don't exactly know why they're fighting, but we do know that he is going to have a massive arc, especially with what they've teased in the post-credit scene of the first film. So Spider-Man 2099, another character who's most likely going to have a massive part in this film. And I think it's safe to say that another version of Spider-Man that will definitely show up is Spider-Man India. We have actually seen a glimpse of his Earth while Miles and Miguel were fighting, so I don't think they did that by accident, and they are definitely teasing his appearance. If he's not going to show up in this film, I definitely think he will show up in part 2, but at this point, even though it's still speculation, I definitely think he's going to be in the film. I think one character that has a chance to be in it is Jessica Drew, specifically the 616 version. In one of the teaser trailers released back in 2019, I believe, they did show a bunch of spider logos glitching, and I believe one of them did resemble the colors of Jessica Drew. And given how popular she is in the comics, as well as how much of an interesting character she is, I think it would kind of be a missed opportunity if they didn't add her into the film. She's also going to have a very own solo film, which may or may not be connected to the main MCU, so I definitely think adding Jessica Drew would be a very smart decision, assuming she is necessary to the plot. Silk is a character who actually did make an appearance in the main Spider-Verse event in 2014, and given how popular she is too, I think there's a chance that we might also see her, especially that teaser trailer I mentioned before does show a spider logo that kind of resembles her look, and I do think that spider logo specifically is teasing towards Silk. And given how she's also getting her very own TV show on Amazon Prime, I also think Silk is a character who will definitely show up in the film. Once again, it's just a theory for now, but I personally don't see why she wouldn't be in it. One character who has been teased a lot is of course Japanese Spider-Man. Pretty much everyone, and I mean everyone, wants to see that version of Spider-Man in those films, myself included. I think it would be pretty hilarious, not to mention just fun to just add that version in there, and I do think he is also a safe bet to be in the film. Believe it or not, he was also in that 2014 Spider-Verse event, so he does have experience in the multiverse, and given how there's a spider logo that literally resembles his font, he's also a character I'm expected to be in the film. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually use him towards the ending of the teaser trailer to actually confirm to everyone that he is actually going to be in it, and that alone would actually break the internet. One character I don't think I've seen a lot of people talk about, and that is Superior Spider-Man. Superior Spider-Man is a massive character when talking about Spider-Verse. He played massive events in both the main Spider-Verse comics as well as Spider-Geddon, a superior octopus, and I think him being in the film would be a very interesting addition to the film, especially when we did meet a version of Doc Ock in Miles' universe. So it would be interesting to see a universe where Doc Ock did successfully take over Spider-Man's body, and he could even be an antagonist, not a main villain but an antagonist for the rest of the spider people, especially when he has for the most part played that role in those stories. So for me, I'm just gonna put it out there, I think Superior Spider-Man will be in the film. I don't think it's as certain as the other characters I mentioned before, but he definitely has a chance. One character I would personally love to see is of course Captain Universe Spider-Man. For those of you who don't know, Captain Universe Spider-Man is basically at a time in the comics where Peter received the Unipower, which turned him into Captain Universe Spider-Man, or KyZmA Spider-Man as some people would call him. Obviously it was just a temporary thing, and that he never really kept the Unipower, but there was a version of Spider-Man who did actually keep it, and I wouldn't be surprised if we actually meet that version towards the ending of part 2. I don't think he will play a massive role in the main story given how OP he is, but an appearance in the post-credit scene would be pretty awesome, which would set up his massive role in part 2. And Cosmic Spider-Man is definitely a version of Spider-Man in my opinion that needs a little bit more love, and I can't even begin to imagine how sick he would look in animation. One version of Spider-Man pretty much everyone and their mothers want in the sequel, and that is Spectacular Spider-Man. I'm not gonna lie, if Spectacular Spider-Man shows up, I'm probably gonna scream, because that version of Spider-Man means a lot to millions of fans around the world. To many people, that is the most comic accurate version of the character, and I think him showing up would be a pretty cool idea, especially if he's still in the same animation style as he was in the show, so it doesn't really change. And it would be cool to know what he's been up to ever since his show was cancelled, kinda like we saw with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in No Way Home. And for me, Spectacular Spider-Man will kinda be a missed opportunity if they also didn't add him in, as well as 90s Spider-Man, though I believe Christopher Daniel Barnes did say that he's not going to be in it. It could be an NDA, but we're just going to have to wait and see in that case. When talking about clones from the Spider-Man mythos, I think Ben Reilly is also a character I think will make an appearance in the movie as the Scarlet Spider, or in a universe where he took over the mantle and became the sensational Spider-Man, like in the source material. But it depends where they go for that character. One of the reasons why I think he will show up is because we also see a spider logo in the original teaser, resembling Riley's Scarlet Spider colors. I could be wrong, but given he's a fan favorite, also a clone which automatically makes him different from the rest, as well as just became Spider-Man again in the mainline comics, I'm fairly certain that he will also show up as the Scarlet Spider, with the iconic spandex and hoodie. Two versions of Spider-Man that actually also played a massive role in the Spider-Verse events, and that is Spider UK and Spider-Punk, and I'm also expecting those two to show up as well. I think when people talk about the Spider-Verse, those two are also some of the characters people think about, and given it's the sequel and it is most likely going to get bigger than the first one, I think adding those two would make a lot of sense. When it comes to the live action Spider-Man like Tobey, Andrew and Tom, I wouldn't be surprised if they showed up in Across the Spider-Verse Part 2, which is a film where they could also introduce more fan favorite Spider people, like Ultimate Jessica Drew, Insomniac Spider-Man whose suit we see multiple times in the first one, or even some of the more obscure ones like Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man, if they really want to, given how I do think that the animated Spider-Man movies would be crazy enough to do that, and if done right, people would absolutely love it. However, what about you guys? Which Spider people do you want to see in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and one more subscribe. To begin, Protocol 36.